Hey guys, so this is the first ever Evolved Dad Shorecast pod with a guest. And I'm very excited to introduce Don Hickman, who's someone that I've been following for and just chilling with online for quite some time now. So we're just going to hop into it, just a casual conversation, and you're welcome to listen on in. So let's start with one thing I've been meaning to ask you for a long time. How's your backyard doing?
The backyard, it's doing great, dude. I'm actually really grateful for winter and snow, so I can take a break on building that ninja course out. So yeah, we left off with the slides, and then during the summer we put the like a little kiddie pool full of water there. I put a 10-foot
No
long
way.
pool at the end of
Yeah.
those slides, dude. It's not even long enough. You go so fast down those slides that you basically go right to the 10-foot edge of the pool. Sometimes my kid even flies out. But it's been a lot of fun building that thing. I got some stain on it a little bit for the winter, for the weather and all that stuff.
How many
I don't
years
know,
is
man.
that?
What's that?
How many years you building that already?
How many years?
Yeah.
I think that's like the second summer it's been up. Well, I mean, not yeah,
Wow.
and not fully up. It was just a frame before, and
Right.
now. So yeah, this will be coming into this summer will be like the third year that I'm kind of still building on it, and I'm really what's the word like it's kind of like done-ish now. It's to a
Right.
level of complete where like the next thing will be like a little bit more modularity and let the kids get good at obstacles and stuff like that, and
Right.
then change them out. And that's kind of exciting for me because I can kind of stop building so much and start playing myself. You know what I mean? Because there's stuff that I want to be doing. Like I definitely want to get like bars, like probably like 8 feet apart, so that I can
Yeah.
swing from one to the other and what have you. So yeah, but I'm excited to actually start using it rather than just building it. So
Yeah.
because ideally I'll have stuff for me and the kids so that we can both use it at the same time. But all that's kind of on hold right now, at least winter, and then I think I mentioned this on Twitter. Right now I've got a torn labrum in my left shoulder, so like even the idea, so even the idea of hanging on stuff, just dude, I just makes me cringe right now. I'm signed up for a couple more races. I'm signed up for a Spartan in spring, and then the War X race in summer. And I'm already like, because this is supposed to be like a 3 to 6 month recovery on this thing, and
No
I'm
way.
already like, oh boy, I don't even know if I'll be ready for that stuff. So I don't know, but that dude, we can go down a whole other rabbit hole of like turning 40. Like dude, like I'm like
I'm
falling
almost there.
apart at
I got
40.
a few years.
Yeah, yeah, it's they'll say age is just a number, but age is a real thing, and trust me, because I haven't
Right.
quit moving. Like I started lifting and stuff when I was like I think 20,
Yeah.
about 20. So yeah, I've been at this maybe even 18. I think it was 18. Yeah, because it was when I left high school. So I've been at this for a good 22 years of not never stopping moving, lifting, running,
Right.
all of the things, and still, dude, turn 40 and boom, stuff starts
Boom.
going, man. So good.
And you're still at it. You're still not
Still,
giving up.
still at it, not giving up. Right now, I'm just kind of rehabbing, which is tough. Rehabbing's
Right.
tough, man. It's like it's even more of a mental than physical because like you get to go through the motions of working out, but you don't get to actually test yourself. Like I can't
Right.
do anything heavy right now. I just have to like I was like doing rows. I was doing rows with like 30 pounds. I'm like, what do I do? Like an infinite number of these? How does this work? And you just can't because the shoulder can't take it. So you can't
Right.
really. Dude, I've been losing my mind. I don't know if you know. I've been like very absent on Twitter. I'm
Yeah.
just over here, kind of losing my mind. I mean, part of it is like when I can't lift, when I don't have that outlet and that energy burn, like because that spurs my creativity too. You know what I
Right.
mean? When you do hard stuff, when you lift and strain your body,
100%.
it sparks creativity. I've just been like dead over here. Like
All right.
I can't even function when I don't lift. So I don't know. I've been kind of leaning out a little bit.
Makes sense. I love the whole concept of how like you've been building that thing for years. Because to me, it circles back to the whole mindset of I hate using the word mindset, but I'm going to use it anyways. It circles back to the whole mindset of like, just get started.
Yeah.
You don't have to get everything done day one. Like, you've been building this freaking amazing thing for years and you're still going at it. You're like, I just want to finish up so I could use it. Most people would have, like, let me hire somebody. Oh, it's going to cost too much. Never mind. Or they put it up and that's it. But you're doing it, and like that to me, between that and your races, is something that inspires me a lot. Like the fact that seeing somebody else actually showing that it's okay not to get it all done now, but consistently working towards that goal and enjoying every moment of it. Not like getting stuck on the fact like I got to get this done, but focusing more on what more can I do now, as opposed to like it's not quite there yet. Let me give up. That it's too long. It's already been
Oh
two
yeah,
weeks.
yeah. I live by the full send thing nowadays, and that would have been, years back. That would have been me, like, oh, this just seems insurmountable. I'm just gonna let it kind of, like, so many of us just get to that. I'm just gonna. You get to the point where it's okay to just let it be a pipe dream and
Right.
never, you know what I mean? And then it just sits there and rambles in your head and takes up space and it takes up energy, right? So, I've just learned, coming into my late 30s and then, now 40, like, you got to get this stuff out of your head. You know what I mean? You got to do something with it. I mean, there's other ideas that I'm of course sleeping on too that I haven't taken action on yet, but there's some prerequisites I need before I do that. So there's at least stuff in the works. But yeah, yeah, getting started. Oh man, it's still funny. My wife and I still joke about, like, oh, I can't get a deck, but we got a ninja course. I said the other day, we were talking about like buying another vehicle. I'm like, well, I'd have to put up a garage. She's like, well, you built the ninja course where the garage would go, so there's that. And it's just funny because didn't really give any thought to any of that stuff. I was just like, yeah,
Right.
this looks good. Let's just put this up over here. And it started as like, let's just build a frame. Like,
Right.
what? How many posts? 5, 6, 18 posts, because it's 40 by 18.
Wow.
So 18 posts, and then, just hang the apparatuses off of that, right?
Right.
And then it evolved, right? So I started, and then it evolved to, hey, let's put a deck on the top of this thing. It'd be cool if the kids
Right.
had a fort. And, oh, let's do like a double lane slide down this thing or whatever. And it just kind of keeps evolving. But to your point, right? You just start somewhere with I love the term minimally viable product. That's been like my
Right.
favorite verbiage here in my recent years. But you just start with that minimally viable product and you get started on it. And then, of course it evolves. And I'm already looking back and I'm like, yeah, I probably would have done this different and what have you, which is cool
Right.
because the next guy that wants to build a gigantic course in his yard, I can help them do it. But there's already things that, I would have changed or what have you. But I'm still having fun with it. And of course, like, if the wood rots or whatever, then I'm going to replace that with probably like either 1.5 or 1.25 galvanized poles and go that way. But yeah, we learned. We launched the minimally viable product just as
Right.
you are now. You know what I mean? You've been wanting to do this for a while, get a little podcast going and catching up with dads and what have you. And you just start somewhere.
100%. And that's really there. Yeah, there's different ways of seeing it come out into reality. But if you don't start with that little bit, you never have the opportunity to look back or to even think through, like, oh, maybe, I'm seeing that it's a little bit weak on that side, or I'm seeing that I'm not really progressing in this direction. Shift it a little bit. If you just get stuck on that thought process, you never even get to prove a point. So
Right.
yeah, I like that minimally viable product.
Yeah. And we
It's a great way
launched
of
the
putting it.
Better men's group that we have with myself
Yes,
and Bert and Dom. And that was I think, like, that whole thing spun up in like 3 weeks, right?
it's
And
awesome.
I've watched other groups take months
Yeah,
waiting for, hey, what's the perfect website and what's the
right.
perfect host and all of these things. I've seen it take months, dude. I've watched these things come together, and
Yeah,
we're just like, boom, just get it out there. We can pivot, we can change websites, we can change whatever it is, just get it out there. So, yeah, I am all about that minimally viable product anymore. And it's kind of like, life's short, right? Life is short. You got to send that idea. You got to. I just saw like a tweet, or I don't know where it was. I saw something today, but talking about, like, as you come up on your deathbed, you have like these 5 regrets are the most common things, right? And one of it was like, I should have lived either more authentically, or I should have
right.
tried that idea. right?
Yeah.
And it's just, man, life's too short. Send the minimally viable product and pivot from there. I mean, if you don't send that, like I'm just thinking, like, you know, you with the podcast, right?
Hmm.
You can, if you never do an initial one, you've got no frame of reference for what needs to be improved. You don't even know what perfect can look like because you've never even done a
Right.
crappy one, right? So you got no frame of reference to even base what perfection needs to look like. And that's what people, I don't think people understand either, is they can wait for perfect, but you
Right.
don't actually have a frame of reference for what perfect needs to look like because you never even put in the reps.
True.
So, and then a lot of things too, a lot of it, especially with Twitter, is it's not about perfect. It's just about how long you're in the game. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yes.
even a lot of these Twitter accounts that were big Twitter accounts is like, you know, they're not doing anything extraordinary or anything. Like, they've just been around a long time. They just didn't
Right.
quit at the first lull or what have you. So, you know, same thing with even with investing in the market. You know, you just don't quit. You just stay in, time in, right? And then, of course, you can adjust strategy whenever, but just stay in.
Keep going.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, at one point, so my main podcast is 10-minute segments. So it's nice short pieces talking through the core aspects of an idea, and over time things have changed as far as, you know, maybe giving some advice, how to make that, take whatever that idea is and run with it. And at one point I decided that I was going to put some intro music and outro music. The feedback that I got on that was like, every single person was like, get rid of it now, it's terrible.
Well, you gave it
But
to the market. The market gave their feedback, and you adjusted, right?
exactly. And now it's gone because I just haven't had the time to put anything else to it. And yeah, just got to keep shipping. Got to keep, like, if you're passionate about something, and to me, it's knowing that I can easily help other people. I know that I've done it in real life, and I've gotten feedback online that people have gained new perspectives. And that's really all it is. It's really just getting a new perspective and understanding where to go from there. I'm not going to be able to help every person move forward, but if I could give so many more people that new perspective, that to me is a win. And that's really, it's just stacking those small wins, honestly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on the topic of I was going to digress a little bit here, but on the topic of helping people out. So with the injury, right? I've taken a little bit of a Twitter break too. It hasn't just been the injury too. It's been the since the election. I've been a little bit weird on Twitter. I've been seeing so much political garbage, and I've been seeing so much so many people, this is a whole other conversation, but so many people, like, you know, Elon Musk will say something and then you just see everybody pile on like that's a great idea, and everybody just like worshiping these idols. It's been maddening. So I'm coming off a break. I don't know, I had a tweet a while back that said, you know, kind of taking a break and whatever, and I'm trying to come back. I'm having a hard time, man. I'm actually having a hard time coming back. But I want to help guys, right?
Right.
That's what I want to do. I want to help guys, you know, get better in anything that they want to do. But I'm having a real hard time coming back, man.
But because
Especially
of the talk?
because the political talk and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just I don't know, man. I'm seeing so many. I think like I don't know. I don't know if it was like when I followed Musk or something like that. Maybe I got to get rid of him, but I don't want to be uninformed either. But
Right.
like I've just seen so many people piling on and worshiping politicians that it's been crazy. And then that Tate guy, that Andrew Tate guy, I'm seeing him pop into my
Oh my
feed. And
gosh.
dude, he had some horrible
Ridiculous.
take today, and everybody's just like jumping on the bandwagon, either hating or loving. Been getting tired of the like the polarity of
Yeah.
it. It's been hard, man. So yeah, I'm trying to come back, but it's been really hard. And of course, I've really enjoyed my peace at home too, and just being present. You know, not that I'm not present, but I've just been ever more present because I'm just
Right.
at home, not doing anything. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I just went on a total rant there, but you talked about helping guys, and that's just kind of been one of my themes lately is trying to come back to help more people. But
Right.
if I'm being honest with you, dude, if I'm being honest with you, right now I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, help everybody out or cabin in the woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's probably a thought that every guy has had, I would
Yeah.
think. But yeah, it's a real thing.
Oh, for sure. So actually, recently I've been on. So I've been trying to branch out to different social media for that reason.
Yeah.
I was posting. I have stuff posting on Instagram, Facebook, but I'm not really on there much. It was more of just like to get a feeling for it. And one of the places that I was posting is Threads. And believe it or not, it feels like X felt 2 years ago,
Oh
where there
wow.
was, I'm on there with other parents and it's just wholesome conversations. Maybe I'm just not on there long enough to get exposed to all
Yeah,
the
I
garbage.
think I've seen some people say that Threads is like an absolute dumpster fire.
It's funny though. Yeah, people were saying that, but
They'll say that about anything.
I've had, there definitely is some stuff. When I was on there, maybe like 6 to 8 months ago, I don't remember when it was, how long ago it was exactly. It was pretty bad. It was all about how, why are you on Twitter? Threads is the place to be, and just bashing everything. That was all I saw. I don't know if it's because I wasn't on there much or what happened, but the conversations that I've had on there and the posts that I've seen, so much more wholesome.
Oh wow.
It's like going back years on X where there was really, I felt there was more of a dad community. And I totally hear what you're saying. I feel like it's more about, I don't know if it's more about playing the algorithm than the dad aspect. That's what I get the feel of, where it's trying to game the system, trying to run with whatever's trending. There are still a few that are not like that, but I feel like a lot of the dads that were there also got burnt out of it and moved on.
Yeah,
But
I would
Threads
agree.
had that fresh vibe. It's been really nice, honestly. I try to pop on there like once a day because it feels good. It feels good to have those conversations with people where there's actually like a real conversation going on. It's not about what did Musk say about buying TikTok and this and that and the other. Go on to X and it feels like every other social media platform now. It's just, that's turning into a dumpster fire.
Yeah, yeah. X definitely changed here of late, and I don't know if it's the number of coaches popping onto the scene or people trying to grow and monetize their account. I mean, by its own nature, you'll have people out here saying, "Oh, I turned X into quit my 9 to 5 and monetized it," and
Right.
so that's so trendy to see, and then everybody wants to do that, and you see everybody
Right.
just trying to grow their account, and you see the like blatantly obvious reposts and reply guy
Right.
strategies and all of these things, and especially after you kind of know what's going on, you
When
can kind of like
you
see
know
right
the
through it.
tricks.
Yeah,
Right.
and you'll see people replying to you all the time just to siphon off of you and these
Right.
things, and you're just like, I don't know, man. It's gotten a little stale. I still like it. I've not seen Threads, so Twitter's still like the
Yeah.
best thing I've seen. And like there's some dad helping dad groups on Facebook and stuff, and for whatever reason, that's just a dumpster fire. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I tell you, your Twitter did have a different feel a while back ago, and it did seem like some of that has fallen off. I don't know if people got burnt out, or maybe everybody tried to be a coach and couldn't, so they just left. Like I said, consistency, right? And
Right.
it's funny because, like, even you could even say, "Well, I'm trying to be a coach" or what have you, and it's like, I mean, I don't know that there's a trying to be. Like, I've done my stuff and it works clearly.
Right.
So, but it's also like I'm not trying to quit my 9 to 5. I'm literally out here trying to help guys.
Right.
I don't care. I make good money. I don't need to friggin' lose my 9 to 5.
Right.
I just want to. I genuinely want to help guys, but I do charge because guys do not value what they don't pay for, and that's what you
100%.
see. That's what you see
100%.
over on Facebook. The dumpster fires. There's no paywall. So you see, every time somebody talks about an argument with the wife, it's divorce to be. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the answer. You know what I mean? I'll just turn and run, take the kids. It's like, no, guys, stop. Just
Stop.
so yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are doing that though. Trying to the coach route and what have you, and it's more of like I guess I call myself a coach, but I'm just out here to help guys. I don't care. I really don't. I'm not leaving my 9 to 5. But there's people they'll put all them eggs in that basket. You know what I mean? And you'll see it. You can see the energy that they're pouring into it. You'd be like, okay, this dude's just on a reply rampage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't know. I just enjoy helping guys. I really do. And I try to help as many people as I can for free, just into DMs.
Right.
I just want to see, you get to a point when you realize that it ain't all just about me. It's
Right.
about, getting my stuff together and then getting everybody's stuff together. Help everybody get their stuff together. We're just a world full of imperfect people, dads, trying to
Right.
help everybody get their stuff together so that the world can be better for my children, right? That's
Agreed.
really all my, and so I took this break from Twitter here, and I was like, I didn't even know what to do with myself, right? I'm like, dude, if I'm not helping other guys, what am I even doing out here? Like, it was almost like,
Right.
I don't even know what's the meaning of life. What am I doing out here? Like, if I
Right.
like, I can just sit here and stack cash and do my job and love my family and whatever, but I'm gonna be fine. Trust me, I'll be fine. I want other people to be fine. So I feel the
Right.
need. So there's that whole dynamic of help other guys, like, or cabin in the woods. And helping other guys is cool so long as it's not sucking my life force out. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But I was on Twitter and getting, maybe I just need to curate my feed or what have you, but that's probably more of it. But I don't know. It's been a little different. So I don't know. I'm trying to come back. I'm grateful I caught you at least. You know what I mean? I was online at least enough for I think somebody replied to have me on your podcast. I think I got a mention or something like that. And I checked it
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah. I
dude, I'll
put out
jump
a tweet about who I
in.
should have on.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm glad this worked out. I'm really excited about this because we were discussing before that I had all these grand plans for when I'm going to start having guests on. And I'm actually like 80 something episodes into my podcast, my short cast. So that's
yeah.
it, one a week. And I kept telling people, like, I'm going to start with guests. I'm going to start with guests. And here we are. Started with a guest.
Yeah, dude. If we say nothing else of value, at least this is you starting with a guest, right? Your audience can at least see that, hey, he took some action and
Finally
he
did
got a
it.
guest on. That's the takeaway. We'll call it right now. That's the takeaway. It's just do something. Take
Get it
that
done.
next action. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's interesting. Like you were saying before, you see through all the things that people are doing. I actually recently I put one of my tweets out as an ad just to see like the feedback, like to get a little bit more reach. I feel like sometimes it's not going anywhere. And I actually got a hater. I was excited.
Oh,
I was like, wow, I haven't had a hater in a while. Where it was something about how I was focused on being a coach or whatever. It was literally to get a free download of some small bit of information that I put together.
okay. I get
It
you.
was
Yeah.
like, that was it. It was clicking a link, email, name. It says right underneath you could unsubscribe whenever you want. And it's just trying to help people. Like, what can I do to help put out more information? What can I do to help other guys more? And I got a hitter. I was like, okay, I got some reach now.
Would they hit you with like grifter or something like that? They call you a grifter?
I don't even remember all the details. I answered back like once or twice because I don't like walking away from those things because it's also hard to know exactly what the person is going through or what their feelings are. And I've actually turned some haters in the past. Like I've said things just like in a nice, simple way. So they realize that I have nothing malicious. Like I'm not trying to sell you these high price courses. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to help you.
Yeah,
But
these people have
this
been
guy
wronged
wasn't this
somewhere in the
person.
past, right? They've
Yeah.
been wronged somewhere in the past, and sometimes like because like, and that's one of the things they'll tell you is just don't feed the trolls. You know what I mean? Just say
Right.
nothing. But I mean, I think there's value in coming back and sort of coming back with grace, because these people, dude,
Right.
people are just hostile anymore about anything, right?
Yeah.
At least a certain number of people. We'll call them the general public, like Facebook users. We'll call them Facebook users, right? They're just hostile about anything, right? So when you can come back with grace, maybe it just puts that little idea in their head, like, oh, maybe not everyone is filled with malicious intent, for crying
Right.
out loud. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll usually engage a troll like once or twice, and then after it starts sucking value, it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
they just want to be angry, so we'll like,
Well, it's like also I find that it's all these things, the way that we interact with adults is really the same way that we should be interacting with our children. Or I should say it the opposite way. The way that we should be interacting with our children is the way that we should be acting with most adults. And I don't mean toddler talk, but with kindness, with an open heart, with a focus on helping them grow and achieve, not taking it personally. And it's not an easy thing to do. I'm not saying that it's easy in any which way, shape, or form, especially you have somebody coming up against you and all of a sudden you get into battle form and you're ready to take them down. Sometimes you just gotta like put the brakes on a little bit, take a step back and just listen. Just hear what they're saying. In real life, it's a lot easier because, or even on video, you could read body language. Whereas you don't have that opportunity when text is coming across the screen. And somebody doesn't know proper, it's not email etiquette, but proper social media etiquette. They don't know how to communicate well with text. It can come across pretty nasty. And sometimes by putting across that nice message, or even in person, just saying that nice thing really just puts the person in a different frame of mind. Like they're not there to battle you anymore. They're like, oh, I'm not used to that. Like they're not fighting me
dude,
back.
yeah, you just nailed it. They're not used to that, right? Like I said, like
Yeah,
people just, I don't know, general populace, the Facebook users, they're used to just going to battle. They're used to just like they read something they don't like, and they're just seeing red, dude. They just get upset about everything, and
right.
yeah, they're not used to that. But that use the term grace is just something like in my recent years too that's been huge, and not many people stop and think about that like, we're not all on the same page. We're not the same emotional intelligence. We're not all
Right.
of the same maturity. We're not all of the same, what we want. We don't all have I want the world to be a better place for me and my kids. That's what not everybody wants
Right.
that. There's some people that are out there just me, 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 me. And that's not wrong, because some people are barely surviving. So they need to be like the me, like I need to survive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, we're just not all at the same place. And so, some people's background is they've been wronged by grifters and scammers and what have you. So they're just going to lash out every time they see it, and they don't realize, like, so there's a lot of guys out here on Twitter that, like, maybe to the untrained eye would just seem like, grifter-ish, especially all the code, probably even myself, being honest, people all grifter, whatever. And it's like, they don't actually understand that there's people out here that just
Want to help
genuinely
you.
want to help other dudes.
Right.
Like we just do, right? Like, I don't know. And that's a foreign concept, right? I mean, even before I got out here and saw it with my own eyes, dude, I wouldn't have believed it, because this was years ago too. This
Right.
was mid 30s when I hadn't seen anything like this. If you'd have told me there's a platform where guys go and they genuinely just go to help each other, no, there's no way I would have believed it, right?
Right.
So, yeah, they just not seen that before. But yeah, extending grace is that's a big part of my life, and it's not just online. It's with people. Even dealing with coworkers and whatnot. If
Oh yeah.
yeah, you just don't know what. I'm fortunate enough, and it might seem egotistical, but I'm fortunate enough to have my life in a good place where I make enough, live in a good neighborhood, family's good, marriage is good, things are good, and therefore I can be good to other people. Like, that's what makes me happy is
Right.
being good, pulling others up, and all this stuff. But we're not all in that same spot. We still got people clamoring, trying to keep everything to themselves, and they're just floating. I mean, just tread water, and it's just a different life. So grace, 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 and more grace. Like I said, coworkers, family too. That's a big one. Family, a lot of times you're stuck with them. Can't change them. Can't get away from them all the time. So it's just endless grace. And there's like
Right.
a switch that clicked for me once I realized that. Once you realize that not everybody's where you're at and has the same intentions and all this stuff, it's so much easier to not get triggered and upset with people and instead just be like, hey, it takes all sorts. You know what I mean? Maybe
Right.
one day they'll see the light and be a lot kinder. But as you know, there's a lot of people that'll go through their whole lives and just be toxic human beings because they've never really gotten to that point of seeing anything other than what's in it for them, right? So
True.
some people go their whole lives like me without even thinking, hey, how can I help someone else today? How can I give somebody else a compliment today? Can I smile
Right.
at somebody today? Everybody just wants to be angry. So yeah,
That's
it's
a
been
great point. Also, like going on the whole grace point, just smiling or saying something nice to them is the most important thing because, especially when you're in a position where you want to give over information, that doesn't mean that it's welcome for the other person. Like we have to think from our own perspective also. Think back to maybe like a previous time in our lives where we didn't want to hear that information. But now that we're having this communication with somebody else where we want to try to help them out, don't just jump in and start offering recommendations. Oh, you should change this, you should do that. That's what they're hearing from everybody else. That's not extending anything to them. That's trying to make more of ourselves.
right.
So, like you were saying, just smiling or saying something nice or giving a compliment, that's really it. That's that's really it. Just stop there and just listen. Even if you're not totally soaking everything up, but extend a listening ear, which again, a concept that we take of how our interactions should be with our children. Listening to them just to listen, not to answer, not to try to figure something out. If there has to be a conversation about something, let it flow, let it get there. But
Yes.
just listen, just have that little communication. Become that person that when people are around you, that they in turn start to smile. Because we never know what someone's going through. And they're going through that really hard time. And that little smile, that, hey, how are you, can literally turn around a person's life. So just doing those small things. And like you're saying, it takes time to even realize these things, which is why to me, going on social media and having the ability to have platform to say these things, to bring the realization to other people, that's really all it is. I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm
Right.
not telling you
Right.
to commit to anything. Just hear the concepts, think through these ideas, try them, give it a shot. Because it's something that I've been through, that I've seen the ugly side of, and now I'm seeing the nicer side of it.
Yeah. The funny thing is since being on Twitter, and of course I've been in several men's groups now too,
Yeah.
and when you're out here, Twitter, it's almost like living a dual life because when you're out here and you get DMs or something like that, like we're all cool to just be like, yeah, no, you need to do this, this, and this. We're so quick to throw out help, and the other people like they know us as being a coach
Right.
in some aspect or having some good insight, so they'll just DM and you're like, yeah, no, just do this. So you just throw out that advice. And same with the men's group. Somebody will reach out with a problem, and you get like 75 guys like, yeah, this, that, and it's totally different than in the real world. Like you can't do that with your wife. You can't
Right.
do that, right? You can't do that with coworkers. If
Right.
someone says they got an issue or something like that, it's exactly like you just hear them, validate that. I'll say that like I'm great at it. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at validating. Like I'm a guy. I just want to fix problems, right? So, but yeah, I'll say, but that's the truth. That's what you need to do is, let somebody feel seen and heard and validated. If they come back and you feel that out and you can tell that they want more information or they blatantly say, which dude, nobody ever does, I need help in this area,
Right.
then by all means, share the insights, share the advice and all that stuff. But sometimes it's just like building that rapport, like you said, of just, okay, I get it, been there myself and yeah, it sucks. And then feel that out. So, yeah, but then there was another point I wanted to make. Just complimenting people, like
Hmm.
anymore. I'm all about how can I build people up. Like
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm at a point. Again, we're not all at the same places, but I'm at a point where I feel pretty good. I want to make other people feel good. So I compliment people. Try to say decent stuff. I actually I'm no longer am plagued with social anxiety. So even like at the mall or whatever, I'll have positive interactions with people. Try to be friendly, courteous, smile, make them feel good, a compliment or what have you. I don't need to be built up really anymore.
Right.
So I find a lot of value in building others up. And I mean, honestly, it might be a dying skill. We might be. It's a whole other conversation, but I can't imagine like the social retardation we're going to start seeing from this point forward with
Hmm.
just the internet and AI and all of the things. Like we really might see some social retardation. So like just making people feel good, just a quick compliment, maybe some eye contact, which people also struggle with nowadays. But how can we build other people up? That's where I'm
Right.
at today.
Yeah. That's where I'd love to get your thoughts on this. My
Yep.
thought is that the best way to build anyone up, even a child, caveat on the child, yeah, let's potentially with a child, is to help them grow by having small wins so that they feel more fulfilled. Once they start feeling fulfilled, they feel that they can do things on their own. Then there's they have that baseline to work off of. They have like that core foundation to work off where they've proved to themselves that they can do it. They know they can do it. They have your well, not approval, your encouragement, your backing. And that's when there's really that ability to thrive. And I feel like personally, one of the ways where I really started to see improvement where I was excited to consistently work out. I was excited to constantly be working on my marriage and constantly be working on becoming a better father was when I started feeling fulfilled myself. And that's where I find a lot of dads are torn with, I got to do this, that, and the other, and the other. Yeah, but you got to take care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, there's no dad. If there's no dad, you have I mean, if you take the worst possible example of when there's a dad that passes away. Now, obviously, we don't want to go to that extreme example, but taking that and keeping that in mind, that's like taking a dad out of the picture. The wife is the mother, well, the wife is distraught. The kids are distraught. Their lives are changed forever. So, as a dad, do whatever the heck you can do to make sure that that doesn't happen. Taking care of yourself in every single possible way, physically, mentally, emotionally. It's crucial. And the more you start taking care of yourself, the better you feel. When you start taking care of yourself, you're comfortable with the things that you're doing. You have more of a stature. You're walking around proud and tall. And then in turn, not only is that for yourself, you have a wife who's proud and who feels that she has a husband that's standing behind her that's and protecting her. And you have kids that know that they have their dad that's there for them. It's literally a win in every single situation. And then you start approaching new ideas. Maybe someone that's dealing with financial hardship, you feel that you can conquer it.
Right. Yeah.
So you're, in essence, it is all about you,
Oh
but
yeah.
not in a, it's the least selfish, most
Yeah.
selfish thing.
Yeah. I wrote a blog about it a while back ago. I call it the fine line of selfishness, right?
Yeah.
Because you're definitely being selfish, but you're being selfish such that you can give more of yourself and benefit more people around you. Like
Right.
I'll even take working out, right? Working out or hanging with the buddies or what have you, whatever it is that's filling your cup. Like, I over the years I've had, my wife has seen working out as like selfish, and it's just like, they don't always understand that it's a very not selfish thing to do, and they've seen it as like taking my time, and it's almost like, man, it's hardly even taking my time. Like I have to do this. This is a mandatory. Like this is not my
Right.
hobby or whatever like that. Like it is, but it's mandatory. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like shooting pool, shooting guns. That's more hobbies. This should be mandatory for darn near everybody. But
Yes.
yeah, but it is seen as selfish, and especially, oh my gosh, dude, not when you start setting them non-negotiables, and I'm big on the non-negotiables. When you start saying like, hey, I got to get this in today, and then wife will come in, well, we got to do this, and you're like, but this is non-negotiable. That's when it's really seen as selfish, and
Right.
that's when you start what's the word, you start kind of handing off that non-negotiable. It starts to become sometimes negotiable. You know what I mean? And you got to either, it comes a point where you either got to hold that ground or give in. It's a real mess. I mean, one of the best things I've ever done, I talk about it on Twitter, is that before I even got married, I set that non-negotiable. Before I even got married, I said I will take 1 hour a day for the rest of our lives for myself working out. And by God, I have. Like
Awesome.
yeah. No, if there's one thing, it's one thing you can do is, you can't go back. But if there's any young guys listening, set them non-negotiable. Dude. It's like the workplace. You can't get mad at somebody if you didn't set expectations. You gotta say these things, right? But and I always say, like, if you didn't set those non-negotiables,
Yeah.
introduce those slowly, tactfully. Don't just
Right.
flip the switch and say, okay, from this point forward, 1 hour a day, I'll be working out. No, that ain't, I promise you. Start with one day, start with a half hour, work
Right.
at it from there until it becomes habit. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that or speaking on that. Oh, the selfishness thing. But yeah, no, absolutely. And then, the more you work on yourself, the more comfortable you are. Like, the easier it is to handle stress. You put yourself through stress of working hard, working at something with your body or podcast, whatever. But the more problems you solve, the more capable you become, the easier it is to handle all that other stuff that gets thrown at you. And no one's ever going to understand that but you. So you've got
Right.
to do that tactfully, right? You've got to, I don't know, just imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine telling my wife, like, hey, I can't go to the in-laws. I got to work on me so that I can help you. Like, this is actually for you. No, it's just, you got to do it. You got to do it tactfully. I was going to speak to another point that you were making too, on like simply encouragement. And
Hmm.
when guys are starting out, um, can't tell you how many times somebody would it come with a problem or a scenario or something like that, and like I've already seen it all before, and so I just want to go through it like A to Z. Okay, this is how it's going to start. Then you're going to do this. Then you're going to do this. But
Right.
instead, you have to just like give like a little piece of like either encouragement and advice, and then they take it, and then you just follow that up with a nice job, or they tell you how they handle the situation. You just
Right.
say, "Nice job." I think of what was that movie? There's a movie, Hancock. It was with Will Smith, where he
Yeah.
has to say "good job" to like the law enforcement or whatever. But dude, there's so much value in just that. Like you said, it just that little bit of validation and encouragement,
Right.
and guys will stack it. They'll see it as a stack and a small win. And man, if there's anything that's my language, it's those small wins, right? Talking
Right.
about accountability and habits and routines and all that stuff. But when they feel like they've done a good job and someone saw, heard, validated, and encouraged, they're so much more likely to come back and tell you about that next win, which is just going to further, go down
Interesting.
the cycle and wins,
Right.
validation, encouragement, positivity, and then it just, before you know it, you got a new best friend or
Right.
client or whatever it is. But yeah, yeah, just the power of nice job, just being there as a supporting, and I love it. You got me fired up, man. You got me fired up about helping guys again. Maybe this is what I need.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I recently actually started um with a team at work and one of the newer teams at work. So we have a weekly call. So I wanted to understand like what's a good format for a weekly call. So I went through a few things, found a few different outlines. One of the ones that I took, you end off, I don't know if they ended off. I end off with a win. Every person on the team should come up with a win that they had from the last week. And I know pretty much what most of these guys are doing throughout the day. So I'll point things out, different ideas. And you could hear the excitement. You could hear how they're pumped up. And when I started with this team, I told them, I said, my my job here, how I see it, is I want you to come every day and I want you to be excited. I want you to love working with this team, not because it's work, but because you're excited for what you're accomplishing, what you're doing. And the more that we have that excitement, the easier it's going to get, the more you're going to grow. It's going to be a win win. So that's the game plan. And it's so cool. You're talking about guys that are in their 20s to 40s, and you could hear their voice change as they talk about the win. And I try to notice these things. I'm a little bit analytical when it comes to these type of things. The same thing with kids. Like as a dad, yeah, just listen. Just when you listen, you hear different things. You hear so much more when you're listening to the child over what's being said. Don't just listen to it for the words that are coming out of their mouth. Listen to hear the emotion, listen to hear the excitement, listen to hear the sadness, whatever it is. Run with that. Because if you start working with the emotion and you show your child that you're there for them, or your coworker that you're there with them through whatever it is, that's how you're encouraging them. That's how you're giving them that next level of whatever the next step is going to be. You don't even have to say it many times. And the same thing goes in a relationship with a wife, with a girlfriend, whatever, whoever's listening to this. Just listen. And it's not, I found that a lot of people look at it, and I used to look at it the same way, where it's laborious. But it's really not. Because when you get into it and you wrap your head around why you're doing it, it's because you're a freaking awesome dude. That's why. You're standing there, you're showing up for your wife, you're showing up for your kid, you're showing up for your coworker. You're showing up for them. You're that knight in shining armor to whatever level that is. That's why you're doing it. It's not a laborious thing. It's not that it was put on you and you have to do this thing. You get to do that thing, which goes into a whole other conversation about what words we use, which is something that I've worked
Right,
on
right.
myself and I talk to my kids about all the time. It's one of the very few things that I am ridiculously strict about in my house is what words we use, especially between people. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go into.
Yeah, yeah. I like talking about the win, especially on a team. I mean, I've worked in so many environments where it's all that matters is the job and the performance and the
Right,
task at hand, and nobody cares at all about the people behind the scenes. I mean,
right.
if there's one thing, I mean, I don't know that I've ever really met somebody that doesn't enjoy being seen and heard and recognized as a human being. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like people, you say it's like it's one of those. Oh, there's a book or there's like a hack or something about talking to women. It's like just get them to talk about themselves. Just ask them questions. People like to talk about themselves. They like to,
Right.
that's what they're an expert in, right? That's an easy one. So people like to get that information out. I mean, I can only imagine. Like I'm just going back in my head, like some of my old jobs and stuff. Like, what if, what if that leader would have got to know me more as a person rather than just like a staff member or what have you? Like, how much
Right.
deeper would those relationships have been? How much more enjoyable would that whole experience have been if you were just recognized as a human being and people got to know you and you got to know other people? I mean, it's crazy. It's so funny, especially I'll take it back to Twitter. Like, dude, I know you, I know tens, at least tens, maybe hundreds of dudes all over the world better than I know my coworkers. You know what I'm saying? And it's just just because we've got an open atmosphere to chat and
Right.
we give a crap, right? We care,
Right.
right? So and that's cool. I like that. I like it. People are awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
people are awesome and people are also awful, right? Um, but yeah, no, and definitely in my recent years, I'm definitely more on the people are awesome train. But yeah, no, there's still some awful sprinkled in there. It's about what you choose to see, really.
100%.
Um, some days are easier than others. I'm not going to lie about that, especially when you go out in public. It's tough. But I don't know, man. I've not since I've kind of had the mindset shift and a lot more positive, especially about helping other guys and all that stuff. I haven't had very many bad interactions, even like out in the real world, in public, at work. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
it's a total mindset shift. Especially as I said, with that grace mindset, realizing we're not all in
Right.
the same place and realizing that we're not all malicious, we're not all out to get each other. There are actually good people out there. I think that's been one of the coolest parts of Twitter. It's just seeing there's other good people out there that literally just want to help other people. It blows my mind.
Do you think that stems from, well, let's rephrase that. What do you think that stems from? The grace mindset.
What's that? Me being
Where do you think that came
surprised?
from for you?
Say it again. Being
No,
surprised that,
where do you think the whole grace mindset of giving grace to others, where do you think that
oh,
stemmed from for you?
oh, dude, I don't know where that came up. It definitely came up. It definitely came up when I was stumbling upon my accountability
Yeah.
idea, like for the group and stuff, and accountability as a method to help people get better.
Hmm.
Um, I was looking around. I was at an event, and I looked around and realized that a lot of people had been stuck for years at whatever they're trying to do. Maybe they're stuck in the broke stage, or they're stuck in the
Right.
overweight stage, or they're stuck in the not present father stage. And I was looking around, and it dawned on me that it was kind of like upsetting to me that people got stuck for so long.
Right.
And I was just like, there's got to be a way. There's got to be like some kind of method or something that you can get people to just stop being stuck, no matter what the issue is, right? And that's when I stumbled on
Right.
accountability. People just aren't doing the things anybody who's been dieting for years knows that they got to eat less and move more. They're just not doing it, right? And it stumbled on me. And that's sort of when the inner workings started going on about, shoot,
Interesting.
we're not all at the same place here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I'm a different breed. I'm a very disciplined person. If you told me that I got to stop eating chocolate tomorrow, I'll stop eating chocolate tomorrow. And I just, that's fine. But
Right.
especially being in like the accountability groups and men's group, I can see that other people have trouble doing that.
Right.
Other people can't just throw a switch like I can. And so it's like, oh, we're different. It's not a problem with them. We're just different. And then
Right.
I've also seen from like the personal training side, people are built different, right? We've got different genetics, we've got different inclinations, we've got different testosterone levels, all of these things. We've got different mental issues which affect our physical, and we just can't. Somebody with ADHD, you can't just tell them to do the thing. That doesn't
Right.
work. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I've
Right.
just been in my journey. So I think it's really been since I've started helping people. Um, especially with the accountability, that
Hmm.
I've understood that shoot, we are not all at the same place with the
Right.
same maturities, abilities, all of these things. So yeah, I can't pinpoint a specific thing, but it was definitely when I started helping other people. So, and it's weird because like I guess I started helping other people when I was at capacity to help other people. Things in my life, my opinion, are pretty squared away. But you
Right.
don't have to be at that point either before you start helping people, right?
Just get
Like
started.
just get started.
Minimal viable product.
Just get started, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's it's like the theme of the whole thing. Like, I mean, did I wait until maybe I did. Maybe I did wait until perfection until I started helping people. But I also did launch a minimally viable product with my peers. I mean, my first accountability group was just like 3 friends, right?
Right.
That was the minimally viable product, and then we just took it from there and pivoted from there. So yeah, but anyway, no, to answer your question, it was after I started helping people. I mean, and I don't even know why. I guess I don't even know why I started helping people because for a long time I was like that selfish dude who was just like, oh, more for me. Forget
Right.
about complimenting you. Forget about
Right.
building you up. Me. And it wasn't until my mid 30s, that I made that mindset. Of course, I got, I climbed the corporate ladder. I mean, I got a pretty good gig, so finances are taken care of, family's good, fitness is good. I don't know. I was able. Well, once I started helping other people, then yeah, you realize pretty quick we are not all equal. We're not all at the same place. And all you can do is grace. All you can do is grace. Because if you don't, you're just going to be
Right.
frustrated all day, every day. So I mean, there's because
It's
there's
true.
days, dude. There's days like a couple weeks ago when I was kind of off Twitter and I caught like a little mini depression because like it was weird. It was weird couple weeks, but man, I ran out of grace, dude. I did. I was out of grace. I was just, and I had to just kind of let's take a step back. And this is funny. I had to watch movies. I
Yeah.
didn't. I'm not a movie guy anymore, and I'm not like if it's not grinding, I don't know what I'm doing. Right.
Right.
I had to take a break. I had to watch some movies. I found some comedians to listen to.
Right.
I picked up a couple video games. You know what I mean? I had to turn it off. I had to turn it all off and
It's
just
hard.
yeah. I hadn't done that in years, man.
Yeah.
Years. But now I understand why some of these what's the word, non-productive things exist. I understand why entertainment exists, why comedians exist,
Yeah.
why video games exist. Of course, I'm still not one to indulge in any of that stuff and
Right.
get lost in it. But man, I needed a break. I
Can
needed
appreciate
to
it.
I needed to disconnect from reality there for a second.
Right.
And I would actually tell anybody now. I can actually understand now why people do that, and even more why people get stuck there. It never dawned on
Right.
me before. How do people just play video games their whole lives? I mean, I don't want to say it's synonymous with drinking, or it's definitely synonymous with floating through life unintentionally. I get that.
Right.
Like I can totally understand now. Now that I needed that break, I can totally understand how people get stuck in the break. Life was hard, and so they retreated into something that didn't matter, and they just wanted to be comfortable and entertain and float around for a while. And then floating got nice. Floating's really nice. Being entertained is nice. Laughing is nice. Like, man, I get it now, but I would be like even before. I would never recommend like take a break, watch a movie. Dude, I would never even say these things. I get it now. I get it.
Right.
My what do you call it? My horizons have been expanded.
Right.
Breaks are good.
The two things that you mentioned, one thing to go back a little bit to the whole whatever you focus on, that's what you see. So there's something that I've cultivated for myself over the years is focusing more on positivity, focusing on seeing the positive. And there's a clip that's been going around for quite some time with uh who's that big motivational guy? Literally big, like 7 foot tall.
Is it the
Um
Homozy guy?
no. He's from a while back.
Tony Robbins?
Yes, Tony Robbins. Thank you. Tony Robbins has I think he spoke about this with a few different people, but he recently did one with Theo Vaughn where he tells him to look around the room and look for everything that you see that's orange. Now close your eyes. How many things do you see that were red? And he's like, none. He's like, now open your eyes, look around the room. How many things are red? He's like, that. And he's pointing them all out. So he explains to him, forget it. First of all, you only saw what you were looking for. You were looking for the orange, whatever the colors were. You were only looking for the orange. That's all you saw. You didn't see it, even though all the colors are there, but you don't even see them. You don't even realize that they're there. But not only that, your mind becomes so focused on whatever it is that if you look back at those colors, not everything was orange, not everything was red. But in your mind, it's like, it's close enough. So it's orange.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
So it's red, but it's not really. And the same thing comes with how we take that perspective in life. We get to choose how we look at life. That's a choice that we get to make. Are we going to look for the positivity? Are we going to work on finding the positivity? Are we going to work on finding the good in every situation? Or are we going to grumble through life? Are we going to look at all the politics and complain at how bad everything is? And it's a tremendously life-changing understanding, because to realize that our mind by default gravitates towards what we feed it. You now have to shift to say, I'm not going to feed it negativity. And it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just switch it off, or most people can't just switch it off and say, no more negativity, only positivity. It's a gradual growth.
Yeah.
But it's something that is accomplished, which is something that I like to do with charts. I'm a huge fan of charts, paper charts. I have them all over. I've had charts for the longest time for working out, for spending time with my wife. Yes, spending time with my wife, because we were not getting enough time together. So making sure that we were taking a walk every night, which we're pretty good about. It's been pretty cold, so we haven't been doing so well, and things have been busy. But we pick it back up when we make sure every certain amount of time that we're going on those walks, that we're spending that time, because it's important, especially when you have a family and you want to maintain that relationship. It's crucial that that relationship grows, not just stay stagnant, because if it's stagnant, it's going down. You got to make sure that grows. What else? I don't remember what else I was doing. There was some other stuff that I was doing. At one point, it was getting up earlier. Now I'm already in that segment. Doing those little things, building those habits, there's so many ways to do it, but all you have to do is just commit to doing it. Even that little bit, like you said, that minimal viable product. I love that terminology. I'm going to own that one.
Live it, dude. Live it.
Seriously. Taking that little bit and then just start building on it. You're not going to be perfect. It literally took me months to get those things into place. Months of checking it off every day. And you'd be like, why didn't it just... No, because it takes time. Everybody, like you said, everybody has that different way of working through things. So you got to find what works for you, but you can't stop searching. You got to find that thing that's important. Can't stop searching. And don't wait for January 1st. Start it now, because January 1st is really far away.
Yeah, it's funny. That's you're describing literally what we go through in the accountability group, and what you're describing is living life with intention, right?
Yeah.
And how do you live life with intention? By you pick a goal. You want to take more walks with the wife, right? So you do that. You write that down every day. Every day you come back. Did I do the thing? Yes or no? If not, what got in the way? Why didn't I? Okay, well, I'm not going to miss twice. Let's go tomorrow. And then you got to live every day with intention. It's so funny. It's so funny when I think of like how I still every day write out my intentions every single day, and then every night I reflect on them. I can't even looking back. I feel like I've just wasted years of my life by not doing this practice. Like I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I like floated through 36 years of my life, like
Right.
without any direction, just flailing. Like I had like overarching themes, but my gosh, the wasted time. I have never been so productive and had so much growth in my life as when I started living intentionally every single day and tracking the data. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
100%.
did I take that walk with the wife? Did I whatever? Did I lift? Did I read today? Did I do the things that I need to move that needle forward? And man, yeah, just data is important. Um,
Yes.
data is really
That's
important.
another point. Talking about reading books. Um, I totally fell off of it. Something that I'm hoping to get back into.
I did too for a little while here. Actually, it's funny you say that.
I was I had on my chart 5 minutes a day of reading. That was it. 5 minutes a day. I could read for as long as I want, whatever time I had, which I didn't have much time, and still not the easiest. I'll listen to audiobooks, podcasts, and whatever, but actually picking up a paper book and reading it. No digital, only a paper book. And I got through so many books in a year. It's wild.
Yeah,
You think like, what's 5 minutes? I can tell you, 5 minutes was like 20 books or something
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absurd. I for a while I wasn't a big reader, just because I didn't want to take the time. But it's
Right.
just like you say, I'll wake up and just 5 minutes before work, and it's never just five. It turns into 10, 15, 20, whatever it is. But yeah, I'll pound through a book a month easily right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just low hanging fruit. It's just I don't know. I like reading books because it helps me help other people more because I they don't always want to hear what Don says. They
Right.
they want to hear about what this author had to say, and it's so
Right.
funny because I can tell somebody what I think and what the answer is, and they'll just dismiss it like whatever, screw you. But if I tell them that James Clear said this in Atomic Habits,
It's like,
oh
ooh.
whoa, this is profound.
You're
You know what
speaking
I'm saying?
gospel.
I know, dude. I know. So yeah, I'm a big fan of books. It helps me help others, especially like when I did launch the accountability group. Like
Yeah.
when I read Atomic Habits, like I didn't really learn anything new. There's nothing
Right.
groundbreaking or to me. There's a lot of good ideas in there, but they
Yeah.
weren't really new to me.
Right.
But I was now able to say like per this book you should be
Right.
doing this, and now it was gospel. So yeah, no, I definitely do. And I'll tell you what else. Books helps for whatever reason, just to focus on the page, critically thinking about the words on the page and the ideas that are
Mhm.
presented. Because sometimes I don't agree with what's in books,
Right.
but it helps set a creative tone for my day. I am way more creative when I read than when I don't. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get into more of a floating mentality sometimes. But
Yeah.
when I actually read, it causes me to think a lot more throughout the day. So it's one of those things. I tend to think that we can foster our own creativity. Like I told
Mhm.
you at the very beginning, I was like, hey, when I work out, that's when creativity comes. And I
Right.
haven't been working out, so creativity's been stalled. I've been flailing, floating, and all that. Well, reading is another thing. Getting out in nature. Some guys it's the shower, some guys it's the lawnmower. Both of those things work for me. But like, I wanted to say that because we were talking about people not being equal, and um, especially like for any other coaches or anybody that content creators that are watching
Yeah.
this, you might think like well, this other guy, either Tyler or Zuby or whomever the next big account is, well, they're just more creative than me. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can actually, like, I believe you can foster that creative activity. Go out and
Right.
do something, put your body through some stress, just explore some ideas. I don't. We are all not created equal. That's true, but I think you can at least foster some degree of creativity within yourself. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm trying to take away your excuses of saying, well, this guy can do it because he's more creative.
Right.
I think we can still. I think we can get creative.
Yeah. And the whole thing with, I guess, one of the underlying things that I wanted to get back to that you were talking about before, especially with like the accountability, is community. Like, I find that even if you have a community in real life, which hopefully most people do, you have your friends, you have this, you have that. They're not necessarily raising the bar for you.
Correct.
They're not necessarily in a position to even help you. They may be on the same level as you where they also need that guidance. And having those accountability groups, like the accountability group that you have, and even just having community. And remember, there was a point in time when I was having, we were doing some spaces for a few weeks, and there was guys that would get on there. It was actually very interesting because there were dads that were getting on, and there were guys that were just getting married, guys that were thinking about having kids. And the dads that were coming on, they're like, it's really nice to be able to have other dads that we can just talk about these things with, because nobody understands what I'm going through. And, or I thought I was the only one experiencing something like this. And I was actually really impressed. There were some guys that got on there. I don't know if it was truthful or not, but let's roll with that. It was truthful, saying that they just got onto the spaces because they wanted to know what it's like to be a dad. They want to know what is it like to show up as a good father. And I was really blown away by that. That really inspired me. I was like, if this is what people are doing, they're coming onto these spaces to hear this so that they can help with the next generation. We got to keep this going. And then I fell off like two weeks later, or whatever. It was a lot. These spaces were scheduled for, let's say, like an hour. They were going for like 2-3 hours. So it was, and they're at night.
Yeah, being consistent with spaces too is being consistent with anything is really hard, especially the scheduled stuff. It can be really hard. What was I going to say on that? So even I got to wrap up here soon. The short kids are getting to bed, but
Mhm.
I'll say it's wild to me how much more open guys are to the idea of opening up to a stranger from the internet versus
Yeah,
their own community of friends. Like you said, they may all be at the same level, and there may not be that. There may be familiarity, but there might
right,
not be vulnerability. There might not be raising the bar. That
right.
I've not seen until I built a community here
Yeah,
locally of guys that help each other level up. I've never really even come across another group of friends that help each other level up and are vulnerable and share the losses in order to help
yeah.
each other. I've never seen it. Like the familiarity of the community, I've seen that part, but I've not really seen the in-person thing. But yeah, it blows my mind how much more likely it is to open up to a stranger on the internet. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think this whole space is great. I don't know. I can't say enough good about it, but it is weird. It is a little, and that's some of the that's some of like the weirdness. There's so many guys that will text about like the accountability group or the better group that we're in, and you can like feel the trepidation in the text. Like I'm interested, but this is weird, and it's just oh man, it's so funny. I don't know if you're a member of any actually sound like groups, but dude, it's the
Yeah,
greatest thing going. When you're actually in it, dude, it's the best thing. It's like the highest return on investment I can even imagine, especially if you're in a good one. But, yeah,
yeah. If you're in a good group with guys that like really are there for each other.
yeah,
When I started out on X, Twitter, I got into a group with a bunch of guys, and it was some next level stuff. Like guys really there for each other, helping each other out.
yeah.
And yeah, but I don't want to take you for too much time. I want to thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And where can people find you online? Because I want more people to join your accountability group so they too can grow.
Yeah, on X at Don Hickman LFG, as in Let's Freaking Go. That's my handle out there. Of course, I've got my merch store. There's wakeupcall.io, but I don't really do enough with that. I kind of made some cool stuff, and I don't do enough with that. Shame on me. I don't do enough.
No,
I probably don't do enough of everything anyway. But like I said, balance. It's all balance, man. Sometimes
exactly.
you got to take breaks. But yeah, I'm mostly on X, and like I said, I've got the accountability group, which I've rolled into the better group now. We got a men's group. myself, Barrett, and Dominic run that group. So I run accountability out of there now. So because I ran the accountability group solo, I had a lot of guys saying, "Well, is there like a long term option?" And I was like, "Well,
Right.
no. It's like we work on the thing, you do the thing, and then you're out." Like, well, I want to hang
Right.
out. Like I
Right.
want to. So we built like a an ongoing community. So now it's like accountability plus an ongoing community. So
Nice.
just trying to. Well, that's a whole other story. But yeah, that's what we're doing over there. That's where you can find me at Don Hickman LFG on the Twitter. And yeah, I'd love to conversate. Shoot me a DM if you're going through anything. Just here to help, man.
Awesome. Thank you again. I appreciate it. And that's the pod.